Do you want to write a good CV in English? Do not ask someone to translate it for you. Or worse, use online tools. Here's what you need to do instead. Tip number 1. Understand the layout of a typical English CV. A typical English CV consists of 5 different components. First, the career summary objectives section. This is where you summarize your educational and work achievements and also highlight the most relevant skills you have to offer. This is where you tell your potential employers what you can basically bring to the table. Second, the educational achievements section. This is where you list all the university degrees that you've earned, starting with the highest one and then working your way down.
And no, do not include your high school diploma.
Third, the work achievement section, also known as work or employment history. This is where you list all the positions that you've held in your career, starting with the most recent one. Remember to include the dates from to, the titles, project manager, department head, the names of the companies that you've worked at, and your work achievements. Now, I know you're wondering, which section to include first, work or education? Well, it depends. If you have some work experience or you are in your mid-career, then start by listing your work achievements first. However, if you are a fresh graduate or with little experience, then it would make sense for you to show your educational achievements first. Also, if you are a fresh graduate, do not forget to mention your internships. Fourth, the key skills section. This is where you list all the skills that you have. Of course, the skills that are relevant to the position you're applying for. There are 2 types of skills. Skills that are directly applied to the position and transferable skills, meaning skills that you have used in previous positions, not necessarily similar to the one you're applying for, but that can still be relevant. And the 5th and final section, your personal interests.
And yes, do list your personal interests.
This is where you shine as an individual. This is where you tell your potential employers what drives you as an individual, what your passions are in life. Tip number 2. Understand the differences in educational and business systems across different countries. When applying internationally, it's important to recognize that educational degrees and job titles may not have direct equivalents across different countries. Failing to take this into consideration may potentially hinder your job prospects. For instance, the Master 2 degree is a common university qualification here in Algeria and in other French-speaking countries. However, if you include it on your CV when applying for jobs internationally, the person reviewing your CV may not understand what exactly it involves. Questions like how many years of study does it represent, or what level of study is it equivalent to may arise, leading to confusion as a result. Similarly, the job title chargé de mission is frequently used in French-speaking companies, but it has no direct translation in English. To avoid such confusion, it's essential to find and use proper equivalents. So, a Master 2 is typically equivalent to a 2-year research-based master degree, such as an MA in many English-speaking countries. Likewise, the closest equivalent to chargé de mission is project manager. Therefore, the best practice is to include the original titles in French, for example, and add their equivalents in English. This approach not only demonstrates your cultural awareness to recruiters and hiring managers, but also makes it easier for them to understand your qualifications and place you among the applicant pool. Tip number 3. Elaborate when needed. Do not assume that the person reading your CV will understand the point you're making. Let's take a look at this example. This is an example of a position you've held. September 2020 to August 2023, event planner at Al Hikma. While event planner is an easily recognizable title, what exactly is Al Hikma? We know it's a company name, but what does it do? What industry does it operate in? Recruiters hardly have the time to check such details, at least at this stage of the hiring process. So, what you should do is, you should provide some extra details on this company, and this would look much better. September 2020 to August 2023, event planner at Al Hikma. A non-profit organization that provides and distributes school materials to elementary school children in remote areas of Algeria. This way, not only will the hiring manager identify the position you held, but they will also get to know the industry you worked in as well as the company you worked at, and gain a good understanding of what the company does exactly. Tip number 4. Understand the cultural aspect of power distance. So what's this? Power distance is the perceived distance between you and the hiring manager or recruiter. It actually varies across different cultures around the world. In English-speaking cultures, that distance is often short, which means you, as the job seeker, would regard the hiring manager as your equal rather than superior. So basically someone you'd collaborate with, someone you'd offer your services to, as opposed to someone who'd simply give you a job. Consider this example. Let's say this is what you'd write in your career objectives section. An IT engineer with solid work experience across diverse industries. I hope you can provide me with the opportunity to apply my IT skills in your company. This shows high power distance, since you as the job seeker are showing deference to the hiring manager. Now, look at this new version. An IT engineer with solid work experience across diverse industries. I'm eager to tap into my educational and work achievements to help you implement new IT systems into your database. This example reflects low power distance, as you are basically positioning yourself almost on the same level as the hiring manager by offering your services to him or her. This approach would significantly strengthen your position as a job seeker, giving you more power and credibility, and recruiters would therefore take you more seriously. Tip number 5. Understand the difference between an individualistic mindset and a collectivistic one. So what's this? Individualism is the focus on oneself primarily, and English-speaking countries prioritize individualism over collectivism. So a hiring manager or a recruiter would typically be interested in learning about what you've achieved as an individual, regardless of your cultural background or the community you're part of. Consider this example. This is part of what you did in one of the positions you've held. Contributed to the development of monthly strategies for the company. If you come from a collectivistic culture, you're likely to write something like this. It actually shows teamwork in general, without emphasizing your individual effort. Now, this is a better version. Contributed 30% of the work in a 10-member team to the development of monthly strategies for the company. This is actually more appropriate for a CV in English, because it directs the spotlight on you rather than on the entire team. This approach would greatly highlight your individual effort within the team and set you apart from the competition. Tip number 6. Understand the difference between work responsibilities and work achievements. Work responsibilities describe the typical tasks and duties associated with your position, regardless of the company or industry. These are generally well known and easily assumed by hiring managers. For example, most people know what a project manager does, so simply listing your basic responsibilities as a project manager may not add much value to your CV. Work achievements, on the other hand, highlight your accomplishments and the impact you've made in your role. These are unique to you and provide valuable insights that hiring managers wouldn't know unless you mentioned them on your CV. Consider this example. Sold software solutions to various companies in Algiers, Iran, and Steve. While this statement describes the responsibility of a salesperson, it doesn't provide any specific details about your success or impact. After all, selling is what salespeople do, right? You should write this instead. Tripled sales of software solutions to major companies in Algiers, Iran, and Steve over a span of 2 years. Notice how quantifying can significantly strengthen your achievements by providing clear evidence of your capabilities and successes. Remember to highlight your achievements rather than responsibilities when describing your work experience. Tip number 7. Tailor your CV. Your CV isn't a static document. It's dynamic and should be refined for every job application you make. Tailoring your CV doesn't mean making big changes to it. It just involves making small adjustments, strategic adjustments to highlight the most relevant information for each position. And yes, for each and every single position you apply for. When tailoring your CV, many critical elements must be taken into account to align it with the position you're applying for, including the job description, the corporate culture of the company, keyword selection to match with ADS systems, industry relevance, seniority, and so on and so forth. Consider this example. This is the career summary objective section of your CV. A highly motivated recent graduate, I have undertaken internships at leading advertising agencies. These placements have allowed me to develop strong sector knowledge and reinforce key skills. My career goal is to secure a graduate position at a reputable company. As you can see, this is a very generic summary that could apply to any position. When a recruiter reads this, they won't feel a strong sense of match or fit. Here is a better version. A highly motivated recent graduate with a core concentration in digital marketing. I have undertaken internships at leading advertising agencies such as A and B. These placements have allowed me to develop strong sector knowledge in the food industry and reinforce my commercial awareness, communication, negotiation, and analytical skills. My career goal is to secure a graduate position in project management at a reputable food company in Dubai. So, what does this tell us? This job candidate has tailored their CV to a position involving digital marketing and project management. This position also requires certain skills, including commercial awareness, communication, negotiation, and analytical skills. The CV is also tailored to a company operating in the food sector and located in the UAE, more specifically Dubai. Tip number 8. Understand the role of the personal interest section. In many parts of the world, including French-speaking countries, this section may be considered irrelevant or unimportant. In the English-speaking world, however, it is quite critical. It provides potential recruiters and hiring managers with the opportunity to view you as an individual, not just a job applicant. Therefore, use this section to highlight your passions outside of work and how such passions can translate into motivation and enthusiasm in your professional life. Whether it's a hobby or a personal project, make sure you demonstrate how these pursuits contribute to your character and can positively impact your work. Remember to keep it short and only include interests that can add value to your CV, interests that are relevant to the position you're applying for. For example, if the position you're applying for is within a non-profit organization, you may want to list volunteer work as a personal interest. Remember to keep it specific, mentioning the type of volunteer work you've done and where. What position do you think this personal interest would be most relevant to? Let me know in the comments. Tip number 9. Avoid cliches. Don't be generic when you present information on your CV. After all, your mission is to stand out and be better than the competition. Hardworking, fast learner, motivated, detail-oriented, results-driven, problem solver, team player. These are what we call cliches. They are generic because everybody uses them, making them unremarkable and boring as a result. They are overused and don't add much value to your CV. You should instead use concrete examples that demonstrate your skills in action. Consider this example. Excellent presentation skills. This looks generic, so we want to make it unique by adding to ensure quality training in my workshops. Here, you're highlighting the reason you need excellent presentation skills in a practical way. This approach not only showcases your abilities, but also provides tangible proof of your expertise. Tip number 10. Understand the role of personal information. When applying for jobs internationally, it's important to know what personal information to include and what not to include. In English-speaking cultures, CVs focus only on professional qualifications and experience, rather than personal details. So, essential information includes your name and contact details only, and maybe your LinkedIn profile. This is the basic information required to identify and reach you. Therefore, leave out such information as your gender, your nationality, your marital status, or your date of birth.
And certainly not religion.
Why? Employers in the US, Canada, the UK, Australia, and other English-speaking countries prioritize skills and experience over personal attributes to prevent any potential bias and the risk of discrimination in the hiring process. Remember, the most important thing is to highlight your skills and experience without unnecessary personal details. However, some countries do ask for additional personal information, such as a picture of you. So the best thing to do is to research the cultural norms of the country where the position is advertised. Tip number 11. Learn how to present your skills. It's important to clearly highlight your skills to show potential recruiters and hiring managers what you can bring to the job. And here's how you can do it effectively. Number 1. Divide your skills into categories. Soft skills, hard skills, technical skills, IT and computer skills, language skills, and so on and so forth. This makes it easy for employers to quickly see them. Number 2. Customize your skills to the job description. It's important to only include skills that match the requirements of the job. Number 3. Include proficiency levels. For example, if you are proficient in English, do not just write English language skills. It's important to also include the level of proficiency. You could include a TOEIC score, which serves as evidence. And finally, number 4, use bullet points to list your skills. This makes your CV clean and easy to read. By presenting your skills clearly and concisely, you'll make a strong impression on potential recruiters and hiring managers. Tip number 12. Add additional sections to your CV. Your CV certainly has room for more sections, in addition to the ones I covered in tip 1. Depending on your experience, your qualifications, or the industry you work in, you can add one or more of the following sections. Number 1. Certifications and licenses. If you have any of these, for example, a project management certification, be sure to include them. And of course, make sure they are relevant to the position you're applying for. Number 2. Awards and honors. Consider including this section for those notable achievements of yours. Remember to mention the name of the award, the organization that granted it, and the dates. Number 3. Publications. If you are in academia, a university professor or researcher, this section is a must. List any research papers or articles you've published. Remember to include the title of the article, where it was published, and the date. Number 4. Workshops and training. If you have attended any workshop or training sessions, include them in your CV. This section shows your commitment to lifelong learning and improving your skills. Number 5. Internships. If you are a fresh graduate or still a student in uni, remember to include this section to highlight any practical experience you may have. Number 6. Professional affiliations. If you are a member of a professional organization, list it on your CV. And remember to mention the extent of your involvement with this organization. And finally, number 7, references. These are people you know, people who would be willing to put in a good word for you. Remember to mention their full names and contact details. So by adding these sections, you can create a more comprehensive and compelling CV that showcases the full range of your skills and experiences. Tip number 13. Understand the importance of using action verbs. Action verbs are dynamic words that clearly describe your responsibilities and achievements, making your experience more impactful. Verbs like achieved, designed, implemented, and led convey a sense of action and accomplishment, showing your potential employers what you have exactly done and how you contributed to your previous positions. Here's what you need to do. Number 1. Begin each achievement with a strong action verb to immediately draw attention. For example, developed a new marketing strategy. Number 2. Quantify your achievements whenever possible to provide clear evidence of your success. For example, increased customer satisfaction scores by 15%. Number 3. Use action verbs that are relevant to the position you're applying for. For example, if the job requires leadership, use verbs like led or mentored. And finally, number 4, avoid repetition. Use a variety of action verbs to describe your experience. This keeps your CV engaging and shows the full range of your skills. By using action verbs effectively, you can create a more dynamic and compelling CV that demonstrates your skills, qualifications, experience, and accomplishments. Tip number 14. Tap into your transferable skills. If you're planning to change careers or jobs, and you think you only need new skills, then you're wrong. Transferable skills are skills that you can apply across a range of jobs and industries, making you a versatile candidate. Skills such as communication, problem solving, time management, and teamwork are essential because they show potential employers that you have the ability to do well in various environments and positions. Whether you're transitioning between industries or changing jobs, these skills indicate your capacity to handle new challenges and contribute effectively. For example, if you have managed projects before, meaning you have project management skills, you can transfer these skills to a marketing manager position. In fact, this position also requires planning, executing, and overseeing tasks. Remember, employers often look for candidates who not only meet the job requirements, but also bring additional value through their transferable skills.